Welcome to Lab 17 MVC areas. Now this is a relaxation lab. Okay, so you don't have to take any kind of stress in this lab. You have to just listen to me what I'm saying here, grasp this knowledge, and whenever you're working in a professional MVC project, try to implement this concept so that you can organize your project in a better way. Okay, so I do understand that the past videos are one hour of huge bulky videos, stressful videos, right? So this video is just a very small, sweet 5-10 minutes of video which will help you to relax, get this concept ahead. Don't do any kind of practicals. Remember this concept when you're working in a professional project. Now let us take a moment and let us visit our customer application, what we have created. So if you see in our customer application, we have the customer controller. This customer controller searches customer, it adds new customer, and this customer controller internally uses the customer class. It also uses the views, like for example, search the customer, display the customer, add customer. In the same way, we have login controller which does authentication, authorization. It goes and it invokes the login view. It also has a model called as user.cs, right? So in other words, we have three modules: the customer module, the home module, the login module. And for each one of these modules, we need controllers, we need models, we need views, we need different configurations, right? So we could have, for every module, we can have different configuration, and those configurations can be saved into the web config file, right? And for each module, probably there can be different way of doing routing as well, right? The question here is that, is this the best way to organize modules? That means go ahead and add a new controller. Is this the best way to organize modules? So for example, tomorrow, let us say you get a accounts module. So do you just go and add accounts controller? Let us say tomorrow you get a supplier module. So do you just go and add a controller and add the respective views in the respective folders and add the model in the models folder? The answer is definitely no, right? Because let us say tomorrow you have 20 modules, and if you have 20 modules, so you will end up into 20 controllers in this one controllers folder. You will have 20 folders of views here. You will have 20 classes of models here, right? So that would make the project completely unorganized. So what you'd really like to do is, you'd like to have separate logical section for each module. For example, you'd like to have, for customer module, a separate controller folder, a separate views folder, a separate models folder, a separate configuration file for that module, a separate routing for that module, right? So you'd really like to have one complete logical section which will have its own controller folder, own models folder, own views folder, own configuration files, So for that, we have a concept here called as areas. So in order to understand the concept of areas, what I've done is I've created a very simple project here called as sum project. Now let us assume that inside this sum project, there is some module 1, there is some module 2, there is some module 3. Okay. So in order to go and add a module, I won't go and add a new controller now. I will go and add an area. You can see this menu here. I have right click on the project. I said add an area. So let us say that I have an area here called as sum module 1. So now the first thing which you will notice is that he has created a areas folder, and inside this areas folder he has created this sum module 1. So you can see here that there is sum module 1. In the same way, if I go and create, let us say, one more area here. So let me go and add one more area here. Let us say sum module 2. So what he will do is that inside this areas he will actually go and create one more folder here called as sum module 2. But if you go and watch very closely, just have a watch here to both of these modules. You can see that for both of these modules, the first thing which is very noticeable is that every module has its own controllers folder, has its own models folder, has its own views folder, and also it has its own config file, and also it has its own routing registration. So now let me go and add a controller in this sum module 1. So let me go right click on this controllers folder and add a controller here. I will will add an empty controller. So let us say some controller here called as default one. Okay, and let us say that this default one at this moment just returns one is that you can go and create a view if you wish. I will not create a view at this moment. I will just return a text here at this moment. So let us say I return a text here called as this is some module 1. Okay, now if you go and run this program, right, if I do a control F5 here very quickly, so the way you will go and access this controller is you have to go via the areas. Okay, so you can see of the namespace it says some project.areas.sommodule1. so the way you will go and invoke this index action here, you will say http localhost whatever is the port number, and after that you will say sommodule1 /default1 and /index. Okay, so in order to invoke this action here, right, so we have to go and say here sommodule1 / whatever is the controller and / whatever is the action. In simple words, this modular thought has also been implemented on the URL routing concept. Okay, and in case you do not want this module name in the URL routing here, you can always go and modify the individual routes of the areas over here. So you can see here even the routing configuration is now separate for every module, or I'll say for every area. So you can go and change this over here, right? Remember in our routing video we talked about how to go and change this route structure from here. So at the end of the day, this area concept helps you to actually build better modules as compared to just creating all the controllers in one folder, right? So every module has its own controller folder, model folder, view folder, separate config files, separate URL routing, and complete modular development. So next time when you think about that you want to actually do proper modular development, create proper modules, then the best approach is to use areas. So that brings us to the end of areas and the understanding of areas. I have kept this video small as possible because this video is meant to just relax you. Why to relax you? Because the next video is going to be a lengthy 1 hour complicated video. The next video is on MVC with Angular. Okay, now in order to go and understand the next video properly, right, I would suggest you to go through these 4 tutorials here. You can see here in this jQuery, JSON and JavaScript framework we have 4 tutorials here: lab 7, 8, 9 and 10. Again I repeat, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So do go and see these Angular videos here so that your base of Angular is clear. Angular is a JavaScript framework. Okay, so understand the base of Angular from here, and in the next video we will be doing Angular with MVC. So get prepared and I'll see you in the next video, MVC with Angular. Thank you so much.